we are always adapting our program to meet the needs of our participants. So we're doing today. Should I get started since we have limited time?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Okay. So here we're providing today a toolkit, and we're not meant to solve all your problems. We know right now things are particularly crazy, or have been very crazy at the hospital. And mindfulness is not something that's like the snap of your fingers. Oh, if you could mute if you haven't. Just inviting. So it's not going to fix all your problems. And we here, the mindfulness team, we are a WVU entity, but we've always been very proactive at doing things for the WVU medicine community and healthcare workers in general. So we're not something that's purchased by the hospital to be affixed to so that they don't have to do things that really matter, like fix staffing issues and things of that nature. We're really doing this because we care, and we have a really special guest today. Maura Riley is part of the hospital chaplaincy, and we want you to be aware that there are resources for you guys that extend to us as well as the hospital chaplaincy, and you can learn stress management techniques and you can get counsel, and I think it's going to be really great having her here. So if our techniques that we teach today don't work, find something, because we really want you to be able to feel at least a little bit better, have a little bit more resilience in this stressful time. So the three of us, I'm Julie Brzezinski-Lewis, I'm a neuroscientist. Nicole Gauthier-Schatz is a yoga therapist and stress management specialist. And Laurel Falkenberry is a clinical therapist. So the three of us have kind of complementary trainings that have allowed us to create programs that are really aware of the needs of the people and informed by those needs and informed by our training. So we shadowed almost every unit of the hospital to see like the different types of stressors. And this was pre-pandemic. People were pretty burned out pre-pandemic. And what we found is that people didn't take time for their breaks or self-care because they felt that they were robbing their patients of care, or even more commonly, putting more burden on their coworkers. And so there was the sense of, or maybe they just didn't have time. And what happens is that the snowballs, the effects of stress are kind of accumulate over time and can lead to burnout syndrome, which has 3 dimensions that we talk about in some of our other classes. Just briefly: emotional exhaustion, where you feel really underwater; depersonalization, and this is really common, the sense of numbness or even meanness or anger that happens. And this is a protective mechanism. It's a wall, or it's a front that people put up so that, because the brain is trying to find something to be able to cope with the day. And then lack of professional efficacy. People start making medical mistakes. One of the units that I shadowed, I witnessed this. They almost gave someone a 10-fold increase in insulin. And it was caught just right at the last minute before, and the person was almost, in tears because they could have killed this individual. And so, this happens. This type of thing is going to happen with stress. It can make you not only cause mental health issues, but it can physically make you ill. I'm not going to go over the details, but it's linked to all causes of physical illness. So here are the 10 techniques that we're going to do today. I recommend, as was said in the email, find a piece of paper and pencil, or at least if you're only listening on your phone, an app that you can take notes, because we want you to choose maybe just a couple of these. The part of the brain that you need to remember to do something for your self-care is the part of the brain that's most withered with stress. So if you're already underwater with stress, you need to make kind of a game plan so that you have a really simple go-to, and just maybe deal with one little problem at a time, and then you can kind of grow from there. So we'll talk about the game plan in the latter part of the workshop today. So let's get going with something that's going to get us out of our seat. We're going to start with Nicole, and she's going to lead us through a set of the first 3 techniques. Oh, Nicole, you're on mute. You're still mute.
Okay, can everybody hear me now? Okay, great. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'll be teaching the 5-point check, the mountain stance, and the 3-part breath. So we were basically today hopping from quick techniques to quick techniques that you can use in your workplace, and you will choose one, extract what you need from each of those, and choose, like Julie said, 2, 3, or 4 that really resonates with you. So what I'd like to encourage you to do is, after the technique, maybe you want to make a quick note, like this is going to work, or yeah, it's not my style, or whatever. And so we're just here to provide information for you that you can use for your stress, to relieve stress. So the first one is the 5-point check-in. I call it BEAM as an acronym. And the first thing, we're being aware of body, breath, mind, emotions, and energy. Okay, and I feel that covers all of our being and brings these parts together so we feel a little bit more centered and grounded. So be aware of your body right now. Be aware of your posture. Feel the whole of your body, crown of the head to your fingertips and tips of your toes, front, sides, and back. And now become aware of your breath. Be aware of the exhalation as it leaves your body. And be aware of the inhalation as it enters your body. And now be aware of your mind. Be aware of the thoughts lurking. So our thoughts are like little posters in the walls of our mind. So we're simply noticing what's there, and not being drawn to a particular thought. And now we become aware of emotions, anything that comes up for you right at this moment. And then lastly, the whole of your energy level right now. So this is a quick technique that you can use of checking in quickly with yourself. It can be even quicker than what I'm doing, especially if you're really busy at work. It doesn't take very long to kind of memorize body, breath, mind, emotions, energy, and you can use it really quickly to assess where you are, and being able to do something about it if you have a little time. The second technique is the mountain stance, and I think it's Julie's favorite. It's so it is a yoga pose that is sort of a home base for all the standing poses. But the most important thing is that it increases circulation in your body. It corrects your posture, which is very important to your well-being, to your emotional well-being. It's grounding, and it also brings presence to the body and breath and mind together. You're bringing those aspects of yourself together, focusing and connecting with your body. So let's stand up. If you are able to be barefoot, that is fantastic. If not, it's okay to have your shoes on. Okay. Now start by just becoming aware of your feet onto the earth. Good. And have your feet about hip width distance apart. So the inside of the feet are parallel to one another. And if you are able, whether you have shoes or not, spread your toes away from each other and press down gently with the mounds of the big toes and the little baby toes and the center of your heels. Now you'll find that when you press with these points firmly into the ground, that your legs, the muscles of your legs will be contracted. There comes the circulation part. So feeling that at the lower legs, kneecaps lift towards the thighs, and you're feeling the muscular action in the thighs, feeling the hips. And now from here, take your hands and place them right on the top of your hip bones, the iliac crest. Press that down into the earth and lengthen the torso tall while keeping the shoulders down. That is a great technique also to release tension in your lower back real quick. Good. Now, keeping that length of the torso, release your arms and your hands to the floor and press your fingers together and down and towards the earth. And as you press the shoulders down, you may feel an elongation in your neck and reaching up with the crown of your head to the sky. You're in mountain pose right now. If you do not have high blood pressure, you will take your arms out to the side with the palms up. And you will bring the arms above the head so that the palms are facing each other about shoulder width distance. Or if there's tightness in the shoulders, open the arms a little wider. Good. Press with the feet down, reach through your fingertips and breathe slowly. Great way to improve your posture, improve your mood, re-energize yourself. One more breath. Feeling the whole of your body strong like a mountain, rooted. Inhale. And as you exhale, reach up and now reach outward with your arms, creating this nice openness in the chest, palms down at shoulder level, and lower the arms down. Now soften the knees and spend just a few seconds noticing how you feel. So this technique can be used, between patients. And you don't need to bring the arms up. You can just for a moment stand there. I know all of you, especially nurses, have your computer there. And you can just sort of stand there just for a short moment, just reconnecting. Okay.
You can really do it incognito. You could even be holding a chart. And just...
That's great. Thank you, Julie. Yes. Because Julie is right. At times, a lot of these techniques are like, I don't want my patients to see this or my coworkers or whatever. And you kind of have to make it matter of fact. So there's two sides to this. You make it matter of fact. But then the other flip side is also that, remember, you're changing the culture. The culture of work and work and work and not taking care of yourself to including self-care in your work. Great. The third technique you'll learn will be the three-part breathing. And the three-part breathing is foundational in terms of yoga breathing practices. So it involves breathing out from the top of the chest, rib cage, and abdomen. So that's the three parts. And then the inhaling abdomen, rib cage, chest. So today what we'll be doing to be able to access the whole of the torso with this will be this. You're going to take your right or left hand and place it on your belly and spread your fingers as much as possible so that your thumb goes toward what's called the xiphoid process where the ribs meet. Okay. Now you're going to take your other hand, you're going to bring the back of your hand right in your mid back and spread it again so that you have a wide range of movement here and space. Good. And we're going to be doing the three-part breath this way today. So we're going to exhale fully from the upper chest, the rib cage contracts, and then the abdomen contracts, and that's your exhalation. To inhale, relax your belly. Let the breath come in naturally. Let it expand your rib cage in the upper chest. And then again, exhale, releasing upper chest, rib cage, and belly. Now continue on your own. And as you do this, relax your jaw. Relax the center of your throat. and your shoulders. So it's important that when you inhale, it's sort of right at the base of your collarbones, and otherwise you'll be tensing your throat and your jaw. Let your eyes lower and soften. So feeling just a very gentle movement of the abdomen, then the rib cage expands like a bullfrog, and then the upper chest, and then we relax, contracting gently the upper chest, then the whole of the rib cage, front, side, and back, which you should feel with the back hand, and then the abdomen. And as you breathe, make this 3-part breath a little bit more subtle. Like not exaggerating so much the expansions. So we're taking the breath into like a center, right into the center of the body. And again, this is a type of breathing. You don't need to use your hands. So take your hands and bring them back on your lap. This is just a help. It's a little teaching tool. So of course, if you're working with patients or in your office, you know, you're just going to be practicing this really slowly, and nobody knows you're doing it. And I find it so helpful if you're, you know, facing a conflict. Maybe there's a meeting going on and there's a, you know, possible disagreement. Just practice your 3-part breath. You'll bring you back to a more calm mind. The more you slow down your breath, the better. Great. Good. So now we will move to Maura, our special guest that we're so happy to have here. Thanks for coming, Maura, and you're on.
Thanks so much, Nicole. I feel so relaxed already. I hope you all do as well. So I work in the hospital, and I'm curious what your all roles are. If you're in direct patient care, and what are some of the stressors that you are experiencing these days? And are there conflicts, as Nicole mentioned, or other issues kind of at the front of your mind that you're carrying with you? You can unmute yourselves or you can type into the chat.
While people are working up the nerve, I can put up your slide. I don't want to leave it up the whole time so that we can see you. Huh? But you know, you can page chaplain 24/7. It's 0590. Anybody have something to share?
That was the fastest way.
People tend to be shy, but we've heard one-on-one with some of the people that we've talked to in different units recently, that sometimes it's, you know, just seeing a lot more suffering with the COVID patients, and a lot more death than people were experiencing in the past, to just staffing issues, and then when those are sort of met, training person after new person after new person after new person. There just seems to be a range of stressors in the hospital right now.
Thanks, Julie. I think that resonates with what I've heard around the hospital as well. I was with a group of internal medicine residents last week, and I was kind of blown away. I mean, I knew that MICU and CVICU are full of COVID patients and ECMO patients, but they talked about just seeing one patient after another, who are terminal, and going to code after code after code, without having the luxury of time for those team debriefings that we always want to have and try to have, and sometimes we just can't. So those handouts in your packet, that first one, my micro guide to self-care, has a couple of ideas. Some of them are similar to what Nicole just led us through, tools that you can use at work that only take a few seconds or a minute to do. And I know I didn't feel stressed at the beginning, but I feel more relaxed now, or I didn't think I felt stressed at the beginning. I feel more relaxed. And then the next 2 pages, this one has a bunch of different ideas for self-care. And this one kind of lays it out a little bit more, the self-care wheel. And I would really encourage you, when you have a minute or maybe right after this session, to go through and pick something from each of these categories to kind of work on, or as a goal for yourself. You might be doing really well in the category of taking care of yourself physically, but maybe there's an issue at work that's very stressful, and maybe you can take some time to brainstorm some creative ways of taking care of yourself through that stress at work. And then, as Julie mentioned, chaplains are at the hospital 24/7. We are available. The easiest way to get in touch with us is to page 0590. And we are here for staff support as well as patient and family support. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us at any time. And then the other handout, that anytime support, is Resources for Living, our employee assistance program. And I'm sorry I didn't include the WVU employee assistance program, but that is available as well, a faculty and staff employee assistance program, and you can reach out to them, and those resources are free. And that's great. The other thing I wanted to mention is the Heroes Clinic that the Department of Psychiatry is currently offering for healthcare workers. It's a free 30-minute session with a psychiatrist, and there will be no documentation in the electronic medical record. So it is 100% confidential. So I definitely encourage you to check that out as well. And it looks like we have a couple comments in the chat. Okay.
Right. People, not all the stress is clinical, but
Right.
you know, it's really a time. It's kind of everyone.
Yes. Pandemic life is very stressful, and I know, especially at the beginning of the pandemic in 2020, one of the stresses that I was feeling a lot was a lot of my self-care practices were group practices and group experiences, and all of a sudden all of them went away. So I had to really kind of regroup and figure out how I was going to take care of myself in light of the pandemic. I'm just trying to read through the chat. So the materials were emailed out. So you should see an attachment in your email that was sent with this link. Questions or other comments?
Moira, I just want to thank you for sharing these tools. I don't provide direct patient care, but I work with primary care clinics in rural areas of West Virginia, and some of them have been profoundly overwhelmed by the demands of the pandemic, with nursing shortages, to the point where it's really difficult for them to make progress on their quality improvement goals. And I came today hoping to find some resources that I might be able to offer going forward to kind of meet them where they're at. So thank you for coming today and for sharing these great resources.
Thank you for sharing, Catherine, and thank you for your work. And I know for me, work here in Morgantown, and we're kind of used to kind of fast-paced situation, but I know that we've been sending patients to smaller hospitals as much as possible, and those hospitals are overwhelmed with patients who are sicker than maybe what you're used to seeing. So I wish I had the panacea. As Julie mentioned, I don't. My best recommendation is to take care of yourself. So can you continue to take care of others?
All right, thank you so much, Maura. It's just wonderful having you and showing that we're, there are lots of places where people can get resources that you can find something that'll work for you. We're going to continue now and do a few more of the practices. So we're kind of bouncing between experiential and doing some of the things that we're that can help even in the moment, even while we're here. It feels really good to do the practices. So the next three are the 3 mindful breaths, ocean breath, and face melt palming. These can be done super short. So these are great transition ones.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you, Julie. Thank you. Yes, thank you all for coming the day after, the first day after Thanksgiving. It's amazing you're here. Thank you. So three breaths. That's all it takes sometimes, honestly, is 3 breaths. So feeling your feet grounded into the earth. And you can either say to yourself, I know I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. Sometimes people find that helpful. Or you don't have to talk to yourself as you're breathing in and breathing out. So just go ahead and take your 3 breaths, your first inhalation, and letting go on the exhalation, and then taking your time with the other 2 at your pace. Now noticing how you feel just after these 3 breaths. The breaths guiding you back into the present moment, into your body. And knowing you can do this anytime during the day. And if anyone is working with patients, like I see clients, or if there's anyone working with patients, or before you do a next activity, if you're not working with patients, before you're shifting and transitioning to another activity, if not with a person, to take this time just to feel your feet grounded into the earth and doing your 3 breaths or more. Thank you. Thank you so much. Nicole?
Okay, so we will continue with our quick techniques. And the next one is Dujay Breathing, which is, we'll call it the ocean sounding breath, because there's a sound in the back of the throat that's sort of reminiscent. And for me, I just came back from 3 weeks in California by the ocean. So I'm all ocean oriented right now. So this breathing, the basis for this breathing, we've already done, which was 3-part breath. And so what we're adding to this breathing is a very gentle whisper sound in the back of your throat. So we'll learn how to do that together. So just spend a moment now with first your posture, always posture. Good. Like the shoulders roll back, down, feeling the openness in the chest, and especially here at the level of the diaphragm, feeling length and width in the diaphragm muscle. Good. Connecting slowly with 3-part breath. A full exhalation squeezes the upper chest, rib cage, and abdomen. And then as we breathe in, there's a gentle expansion in the belly, a little bit more expansion in the rib cage, and a smaller one into the upper chest. Continue at your own pace. Okay. And now bring your hand close to your face and imagine that there's a mirror in the palm of your hand. So what you'll be doing with your mouth slightly open is you're going to fog the mirror with the exhale. And when you inhale, defog it. So it's like this. And then defog it with the inhale and exhale. And now as you do this, make it more subtle, real gentle. Once more with the mouth open. And now close your mouth, bring your hand down, reproduce that in the back of your throat, same sound with the mouth closed. Relax your jaw. Relax your throat. So it's a gentle contraction of the vocal cords. It's like a whisper, just very gentle. You can hear that whisper very gently in the back of your throat. So this breathing increases your level of awareness. It also creates a stronger airflow with longer inhalation and exhalation, and it focuses and concentrates the mind. Again, something you can do in your office or with patients, after patients, before patients, especially if there was a difficult encounter and you're like, oh, geez, and you're feeling yourself feeling tense. Just go right into your Dujay breathing, your ocean sounding breath. Feel a more relaxed stance in your body, in your mind, in your emotions, so that you can move on to the next thing and feel a little bit more whole. A few more breaths. And now just simply make it more subtle. When we learn a new breathing style in yoga, I notice students really try hard. So let it be subtle and gentle. You can do this when you're standing, when you're walking, when you're waiting in line at Kroger's, if the line is long, anything, anytime that you need to connect to yourself. And you'll notice also that as you pay attention to the sound, the mind focuses and concentrates on the now, on this moment. That's mindfulness. And staying calm, we're going to move on to the face melt.
Yes, thank you, Nicole. So we hold a lot of tension, obviously throughout our body, but a lot in our face, especially if we're having interactions with people during the day. So the face needs a break, and it helps you to go to your interior world, interoception, the interior world. So what I'd like you to do is, take off glasses if you have glasses on. Thanks, Julie. Thanks, Kim. And we're going to put our hands together and we're going to create some heat, some warmth that we're going to share over our face. So go ahead and rub your hands vigorously to create some warmth and also an intention. What is your intention for this practice right now? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need to hear? What do you need to tell yourself? Right now, I'm thinking I need some more peace. So I am rubbing peace into my hands. So if a word comes to you, great. If not, that's fine. And you might be getting tired of rubbing right now. So now gently go to cup your palms. You're going to cup your palms. You're going to put the heels of your hand to your occipital bone, your cheekbones, and then your fingers to your forehead. You're cupping over your eyes, and you're drinking in this beautiful energy. You're soaking it in. Breathing it in through your hands into your face. Let your head drop a little bit. So your hands are holding you with compassion. You're holding yourself with compassion and kindness, letting everything go. Letting it all go. And now opening your hands and taking your first two fingers, your pointer and middle finger, over your forehead and bringing it down to your temples and letting go. And now bringing over your eye, gently over your eyelids to your temples and down, tracing down to your jaw. Trace all the way down to your jaw and then flick off the energy. Flick off what you want to flick off. Just let it go. And then you can do this as slowly or as quickly as you want during the day, and just noticing how that feels right now. this small few minute practice, honoring yourself. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to talk just a little bit about the importance of self-care, the importance of putting on that oxygen mask. We've all been tested and stretched these past year and a half, almost 2 years. We've been stretched like Gumby. If anybody remembers Gumby from when they were little, this little toy that you could just stretch, and we're feeling it, and it hurts at times. And research has shown that anxiety and depression have increased. So these are all signs to ourselves like, oh my goodness, I need to take care of myself. And how am I going to do that? Is it unplugging from electronics every now and then? Is it getting some fresh air? However short that fresh air is, getting some fresh air and some light outside, even if it's cloudy, outside light is important. Maybe buying one of the happy lights that simulates the sun, size of an iPad that you put beside yourself, about $35, $40 on online. And setting boundaries with people. Like, I can't do that right now. I mean, not with the patient, certainly in patient care, but in your family setting. I read where some of you are encountering health of a loved one that's difficult, empty nester, stressors here, stressors there. Being able to say, not now, not now. I'll get back to you. No, now's not a good time. It's okay to say that. It's okay to take care of yourself. We always tend to put people ahead of ourselves, but we've got to be right in line with them. We deserve it as much as we're giving. So keep a balance of that. Really important to keep a balance during difficult times. And this has been a very difficult period. And so with patients, setting boundaries in between patients, like taking these breaths, doing palming, the Dujay breath, the mountain pose, just taking time for yourself for just a second or two, not even a minute, will do wonders, because we say to ourselves, oh, I don't have the time, I don't rush. No, that's kind of an addiction in a sense. Adrenaline can be an addiction in a way. So just come back to, I have a few seconds. I can do this. I have a few seconds. So checking in with yourself throughout the day. How is, like Nicole said, how is my body, my breath, my energy, my emotions? Where do I need tending to, like a plant that's drying up? Where do I need some watering? Is it mind, body, emotions? Where do I need this watering? Just this simple checking in with yourself. You will feel like you're important, like you matter. And you do, you matter. Thank you so much. And now we're going to move on with Julie and Compassion Connect.
Thank you so much, Laurel. So one thing that we sometimes hear is that compassion fatigue. If one does not have the boundaries, like Laurel was and Nicole were both talking about, you can drain and feel like that empathy has dried up. And sometimes you see people, and I've talked to nurses who say, well, some of the other nurses are actually kind of mean to the patients. Understanding that that's a sign of burnout, and that's probably what's going on, but one can also just become overwhelmed. So compassion can be done in a safer way. And so this is just a technique. It's just going to take a couple minutes. I'm going to try to do it as short as possible, try to get it under 2 minutes. So here you sandwich it. It's important to create a compassion sandwich. The two parts of the sandwich are mindfulness, and kind of, you could do the 3 mindful breaths or the ocean sounding breath as your 2 bookends or your 2 slices of bread. So first, you feel your feet on the ground. If you're standing, you might be with a patient who's difficult or who is undergoing a lot of suffering. It's best to practice this first outside of the patient setting, and then maybe you could bring it in. So feeling just a sense of your body in space, your feet connected to the earth, and doing 3 mindful breaths. From this place of grounded mindfulness, then the empathy can arise from there in a safer way. So to do this, we're going to use an imaginative exercise. So you're just kind of doing an emotion practice, if that makes any sense. Because if you do the emotion under duress, you could end up getting burned. So you want intense empathy, but you also want to be able to recenter. So here you start to think of a person that you care about who may be suffering, a loved one, someone who's not a complicated love-hate relationship, someone that you care about, who might be going through a hard time, either physically or emotionally. And when you have this person vaguely or vividly in your mind, imagine sending them the wish for relief of that suffering. And that's what compassion is. We want them to be relieved of suffering, to not suffer anymore. This could be just a verbal form of a wish. You could connect it with spirituality if you wish, or you could imagine rays of light if you're a visual person. So imagine that this compassion wish is having an effect. And you see your loved one more at ease, like a burden lifted off their shoulders. Imagine how you would feel in real life if you saw your loved one have that ease of their suffering. You would feel a kind of a relief with them. So try to intensify, if able, that feeling, not worrying if it's stronger or not. And then recenter. Again, this is taking one mindful breath to be back in your body, feeling your feet on the ground. Now, rising again from that is a wish for all of us that are gathered here. All of us are suffering stress right now of different degrees and different types. Imagining that all of us are having that stress alleviated. That all of us are having that burden lifted off the shoulders. More at peace, more at ease. You are also included in this group. So also include yourself. And if you have trouble sending compassion to yourself, think about your loved one and how they would want you to have relief from stress and suffering. And then from here, expand that to include all the people in the hospital, patients and staff, people in Morgantown, expanding more and more to include the whole world without thinking of anyone in particular. Just a general wish for all to be free of suffering. And now, very importantly, going back to just the breath, doing 3 mindful breaths. If there's a residue of any emotion, that's fine. Just notice, but go back to the breath. So that is the Compassion Connect. It's quite quick and easy to do. We're going to move on to the next practice. Getting more physical.
Thank you, Julie. That's always such a beautiful, wonderful meditation, the compassion. It's so helpful. It's made a lot of changes in my life since I've learned that from Julie. It's great. So the effects and the ravages of stress and burnout are really felt in our body. It comes out as headaches, lower back pain. It just, just depends on the weaknesses of each of our body's functions and such. So the 2 next techniques will be something quick that you can do, one very, very quick, and the other one not so quick, that you can do to release that tension in the body. So I've been a yoga teacher for 31 years this year, and I realized that it's so important every day to release the tension from the body. And it doesn't need to be a whole hour of yoga if you don't have it, but yoga is a wonderful, wonderful practice to relieve tension in the body, mind, emotions. So the first one, it's called Instant Relax, and it's a shoulder release. And it's really simple. So it's going to involve bringing our shoulders up to our ears as tight as we can with an inhale. Then we're going to hold it there just for a second, just to feel that tension. And then we do an exhale and we quickly drop the shoulders down. It's that simple. You can do this again in your office, especially if you're every 20 minutes if you're on the computer, have a little post-it note there, insta release, so that you remind yourself. So it looks like this. I relax my arms alongside the body with the hands down, squeeze up as tight as I can, inhaling through the nose, and then exhale out of the mouth. That's it. That's all it is. Let's do it again. Inhale slowly. Let the inhale be slow. Hold tight, 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 tight. Exhale, let go. One more time. Inhale. Let go. Exhale. So especially again, if you were in a difficult situation, it only takes a second to do that. So if you're a nurse, you're walking out of a patient's room and the computer is there, do your insta relax. One of them will be very helpful if you don't have time for 2 or 3. So again, these are all quick techniques. The next one is the 6 movements of the spine. 6 movements of the spine corrects poor postures. It really helps to strengthen your ligaments in your joints from either standing too much or sitting too much. It will also really keep that nice natural curves of your spine and really release tension in your paraspinal muscles. So if you stand a lot, you'd want to do the 6 movements of the spine seated. And if you sit a lot, you want to do them standing up. So you can choose. Now, all these techniques can be found on our website and Facebook. So the only thing that's not on Facebook right now in our Mindful Steps page is the 5-point check, which I will do in the next couple of days. Okay, so either stand up or sit, because you can do both. I'm going to stand up to do this. Now, one of these poses will involve this touching the floor. So have your chair in front of you. So if that's not possible for you to place your hands down, then you can place the hands on the chair. So I'll show you both. So let me very quickly go through the sequence and you'll have a visual of that, and then we'll do it together. So start in mountain pose. You already know that, you're a pro at this. Good. Then we go through a side stretch. So the side stretch looks like this. And the next one will be the Cobra Pose. The knees are slightly bent or straight. Hands braces your lower back. We open from the chest all the way up, elbows in, and then we come back. And the next one is a twist. So we bring the hand right onto your sacrum, the other hand on the right hip bone. We do a gentle twist to the right, and then from here we do a gentle twist to the left, and the forward fold. So the forward fold can be the knees are bent, the thighs are firm, the hands can be on your thighs, on your knees, on your shins, on your ankles, or on the floor, or on your chair. Okay, it's perfectly fine to have the hands on the chair. So let's do the practice together. Mountain pose. You breathe slowly in and out of your nose, really lightly. Okay. Breathing through your nose is healthier, and you can join one of my yoga class to understand more the science and mechanics of why it is healthy to breathe through your nose. So mountain pose, arms go up. Palms are facing each other. You feel tall, grounded, strong like a mountain. Bring your left hand on the side of your leg and expand through your left with your right arm. And then slowly come back to center. Take the opposite hand down and arc on the opposite side. You may feel a difference from side to side. And now come back, bring both arms up. Inhale, reach the sky. Exhale, lower the arms all the way back down. Good. Now Cobra Pose. Bend the knees slightly or keep them straight. Place the heels of your hands on your lower back to brace below the rib cage. Squeeze the elbows in gently. And now from here we open from the front of the belly, the front of the chest, And now as you bring your chin towards the ceiling, have your nose parallel to the ceiling. Do not bring your head totally back. Good. Take one more inhale. Exhale, come back into your upright position. Good. Now we'll twist to the right. Place your right hand on your sacrum and your left hand on the top of your hip bone. Lengthen out of the waist and take a nice inhalation, slow. And with a slow exhalation, start to twist to the right. Keep your chin parallel to the floor and look over your shoulder. Take one more breath in. And as you exhale, slowly return. As you return, we do the opposite side. Left hand behind you, right hand on left hip. Inhale, lengthen out of the waist. As you slowly exhale, slowly twist it to your left. Look over your shoulder. Take another breath in. And as you exhale, slowly return. Good. Now have your chair in front of you if you need it. Good. Take the arms back up into mountain. And now with your hands, hold on to your hips with your thumbs in the crease of your hips. Good. Bend the knees and firm the thighs. Now from here with your thumbs, push your hips behind you. Lengthen your lower, your mid, your upper back. Open the front of the chest, either hands on the chair or hands on the thighs, knees, shin, ankles are all the way down to the floor. Drop your head and neck down. Feel the crown of your head being pulled down by gravity. To come back up, lift your chest a little bit. Place your hands on your knees or grab a hold of your hips again, thumbs in the crease of the hips, come up. Inhale, bring both arms up. Exhale, take the hands together in the front of your chest. Good. Now soften the knees, bring the arms alongside the body and spend just just about 30 seconds. Notice how your body feels. The whole sequence can be done on the chair.
Can I make a proposal that we briefly talk, since I have to leave early?
Yes.
I was just going to talk before we do the self-love about the game plan, just because you've learned most of the techniques. There's one more to come. But in order to actually implement it, you are going to need your brain on your side, and your brain, if you're stressed, is not on your side. This is a study that shows that the frontal cortex actually atrophies and loses connectivity with the rest of the brain when you're under stress. So, this is what you need for attention and working memory. So to remember to do the stress practices, that's impaired. So meditation can help with that region of the brain. But if you are feeling very stressed, you may just need to choose one, maybe just one technique or one type of stressor that you're going to try to tackle and create a game plan. So if patient after patient after patient, you might come up with a set of practices, like you do that 5-point check, you do the mountain, you do the ocean breath, or maybe you just kind of check in with yourself and do 3 breaths, and maybe you do that between each patient. I timed it. It takes 9.5 seconds for at least my breath rate. And it hurts the brain to change tasks. So to feel that you're not doing, it's not necessarily because you feel like you don't want to do it. You have to switch tasks, and that's expensive to the brain, but it's worth it. It's worth that. You don't want to disengage your brain from that task. It for some reason hurts. So you have to, say, hey, it's really beneficial to do this. Take 3 breaths, maybe while you have the chart, then read the chart, then go in. Or maybe you just take 3 breaths between emails or 3 breaths between interactions between people. And that 5-point breath, I was going to go over it again, or Nicole was going to go over it again, but you can read what that is. Your thing might be, patience and intense suffering, and then you might create something that involves the gap or compassion connect, or you might have, develop something for the start of the day, or in break, or in your car before you go home, or at your desk before you leave, your home office. Or you might experience alone the day. You might choose ones that help with the 6 movements of the spine or the mountain stance that increase energy. Or 3 a.m. you're racing, you're fine during the day. You feel like, I'm enough, I can do it. And then all of a sudden you wake up in the night or can't fall asleep because all the memories and the unfinished business of the day piles up. And then you might develop some kind of technique for that. So all these I'm going to send to you. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but maybe take a moment either now or during your next break at work to sit and write down a game plan and say, I'm going to do this for the next week. Set a realistic short-term thing that just involves 1, 2, or 3 of the practices and just say, I'm going to try this. I'm going to, I invested an hour of my time, taking this class, or maybe less if you're listening to it remotely and you speeded up the video. But you've taken time to do this, and you can reap more benefits if you try to do something with the course.
Beautiful,
So-
Julie.
So now we can go to the self-love without feeling like
No,
the
yeah,
rest of
no.
the time.
The self-love doesn't take much time either. Honestly, it's watering our plants. It's okay. And like Julie said, it's good to make a plan and to practice it. And if you come back on next Monday, we're going to be doing the class on mindful steps for seasonal changes. And if we recognize you here, maybe you can share how that was this past week, picking a few things to tend to yourself from the list. And Julie said she's going to send these game plan suggestions, which are awesome that she did this. These game plan suggestions, they're just beautiful. So our last technique to share is coming back into your breath, feeling your feet grounded on the floor, noticing your next inhalation, that slight pause, your next exhalation, that slight pause again. Feeling the waves of your breath like the waves on the ocean. Easy in, easy out. Letting go a little bit more with each exhalation. And now gently putting your hand over your heart. And maybe visualizing, if you can visualize and see a color, go ahead and see what color comes to you. If no color comes and it's hard to visualize, see if a sound comes to you. Any kind of sound or color. And just be with that sound or color. Or if an animal comes to you. Whatever comes to you as you're holding your heart. And breathing along with your heart. Feeling your heart, feeling all that your heart does for you. And that kindness and compassion you have for your heart. Thank you, heart. Thank you for all that you do. And now relaxing your hand when you're comfortable in doing so. Bringing your full awareness back to the room. And knowing you can do this multiple times throughout the day. As much as you want. We are winding down on time. We are right at 1 o'clock. And I'd like to open it up.
I did put the PDF of the talk there so that if you're like, if I don't do it now, I'm not going to do it. I put him there. So you can create
Thank
a game
you.
plan. I do have to run off and teach another class. So please fill
Okay.
out the poll. It really helps us. It's the first time we've done this class, so please forgive us if we're just kind of feeling our ground. The more feedback you give, the better our next class will be for future students.
Mhm. So
Yeah.
Have a good class, Julie.
Thanks.
bye, Julie. See you soon.
Bye.
Yeah. See you
Okay,
tomorrow.
so everybody, thanks so much for joining us. Please fill the after poll. That helps us a whole lot to know where we're going. And I also want to thank you so much, Maura Riley, for joining us. And she is a fantastic, wonderful resource. And for you to for your self-care techniques and okay. And also I will send to Anthony the all the links to the practices today. So you'll know where to find the 3-part breath, the face melt, everything in one place. This way you can just click and have the video. And it should be helpful to you. Now, also the other resources are website. So I have videos there and I have a lot of the breathing and meditation and other things going on there. So we'll try to put that together in one place as much as possible for you.
Mhm. Yeah. Goodbye, Margaret. Thank you all. Yes. Thank you for coming. Have a beautiful day, wonderful week. Hopefully we'll see you next Monday. Same time, same place. Oh,
Different subject.
different subject, different channel.